Welcome back, Sean.
Oh, such a pleasure. Thank you all so much.
Well, this is where you are in the hot seat, young man.
Okay.
But it's not going to be too bad. I promise it'll be painless. For those of us that haven't known you all of our lives, why don't we start from the beginning? Tell us a little bit about where you were born and raised, your musical background. I'll let you start.
Okay, and I'll keep it short because it's really not all that compelling. I was born in Nashville. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Because Dad was a graduate school at Vanderbilt, so I was born there, and we weren't there long, and I don't remember any of it.
Right.
And I go back to Nashville now every once in a while. About a month ago, I played in downtown Nashville with an old friend, and that was a big honor. But Fayetteville, Arkansas is home because my father was a writer. My late father, not a famous writer, but one well-known among other writers. Mm-hmm. And he wrote a bunch of great novels. He was a terrific writer. He was a terrific writing teacher, and he founded the creative writing program at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville. That's why I grew up around Lucinda Williams, because her father was there, part of that writing program. And I was closer to her younger brother, Robert, and we would jam and get into a little bit of trouble together. So I've lived all over, including a couple of years in Europe. I've lived 10 years down here in Texas. And now I travel a lot and play shows. None of them are this cool, but I play a lot of shows. I've interrupted people's dinner conversation from Gallup, New Mexico to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I get to play these kind of shows from time to time, and it's such a reward. So Dad played a little guitar, and I wanted to be like him. And so I also paid attention to what he taught to his writing students, and I would overhear and pick up on that a lot and learned a lot of things that I apply to my songwriting. And my earliest influences, and this changed everything. When I was 5, the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan. Mm-hmm. And for millions of us, it turned us into wannabe songwriters and musicians.
Oh, yeah.
And so I have a specialty show for house concerts called An Americana Songwriter's Journey. And I don't do a bunch of covers, but I do bits and pieces. I will do a mashup medley of the Beatles' Rubber Soul and Bob Dylan's A Freewheeling.
Yep.
Because those two records, I wore them out. And they changed me forever. They imprinted on me, and I still feel it. And so I like playing that little medley, and I'll end it by saying, it's that stuff that made me write this stuff. So I use sort of snippets of cover material to introduce my next song, because that's where these songs came from.
Right.
And that's what turned me into a songwriter.
Right.
So I'll play little bits of Ode to Billy Joe by Bobby Gentry, 1968. Mm. So I was 9. But boy, one of the great songs ever written. And Roger Miller's King of the Road. Mm-hmm. Those songs meant a lot to me.
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of my musical background.
So when, how old were you when you wrote your first song?
5 years old.
5. Okay.
And it was
Do you
called...
still remember it?
Yeah. Well, I don't remember all of it, but I remember enough that I play a little bit of it on my old parlor guitar. Uh-huh. The reason I have this guitar is because Dad gave away our first one to Lucinda Williams. It was her first guitar.
Oh,
so that's an interesting story. For those of you who don't know Lucinda Williams, she is a living legend. She's the daughter of the poet Miller Williams. And he's a legend. He's passed. My dad has passed. And another writer gave us this guitar, and I adopted it because from age 5 on, I knew what I wanted to do. I didn't do it all my life. I did it for a while. I got distracted. I did bad things and got very distracted, and I had to find my way back through, well, it's a whole other story, but spiritual experiences.
Right.
Led me back to being just a musician now. I did other things in life. I was a newspaper guy. I was a 25-year public relations guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I did learn to finish up about this guitar. On the inside, it says George Washburn. And so Washburn is a modern guitar building company and well known. But George Washburn back in the 1890s was making these. That's from the 1890s.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So a vintage guitar is considered from the 70s or 80s. And so this is way beyond vintage.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had it for 57 years.
Wow.
I still play
antique. Very nice.
So I play it, and I play some songs, including the first song I ever wrote, at least at what I can remember. But, remember when I talked about our minds are processors and everything we hear? So all I had when I was 5 years old were the records Dad had been playing in our house. And it was some old blues stuff, some jazz standards, some Woody Guthrie, and some of the down and outer kind of stuff. So I wrote a song called No, I Ain't Got No Money. And Baby, Baby, Please Don't Leave Me. So that's, 5-year-old has no business writing that kind of song. But that's all I knew. That's what a song's about. That's what I was hearing, so that's what I did.
Yeah.
Hadn't changed that much since then either.
Did you have any siblings, or are you an only child?
No, I've got an older sister and a younger brother, so I was the middle child, mostly ignored by everybody.
Well, that explains it all.
Any other middle children in here? Barbara. Yeah. You know how it feels.
So did your siblings take up the writing and the music? Like
my brother does. My little brother has written some cool songs. But he doesn't work at it. It's just when an idea comes along.
Yeah. That would be cool for you and your brother to do a show together, wouldn't it?
We did that when we were young.
Yeah.
He can't travel anymore. He's kind of disabled.
Oh, okay.
So I travel alone. I like when Clarice can travel with me, but she's still in her career and busy. And but when she travels with me, we get better service in restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
She's kind of an elegant lady. And then people look and say, why are you with that sort of dog of a guy?
No.
Well, because I am not bad.
You're not bad
I'm
at
a good
all.
dog.
You're a good boy. You're a good boy. You mentioned earlier interrupting people's dinners. Do you play mainly restaurants, or what is the genres that you...
I play all kinds.
Yeah.
And so to stay busy, I play breweries, wineries, roasteries, restaurants, and bars. And a lot of times, I'm just background noise for the people in the room. They're talking. And my songwriter friends will say, Sean, why do you play those shows? And I defend it. And I say, well, it pays.
Paid practice.
It pays. It keeps me sharp.
Yeah.
And I actually do pick up a fan almost every time I do one. Somebody is listening, and they want to come up and ask me, how did you write that song? Where'd that come from? And that's why I developed this thing, An Americana Songwriter's Journey. People said, how did you write that song? And so I decided, well, I'll show you. I'll play you some of that old stuff that turned me into a songwriter.
See, there's the teacher from your dad coming out there.
Plus the fact that I grew up in a literary home. It's not that I was expected to become a writer of any kind or a creative person of any kind, but it sort of left that door open. It gave me permission to take a shot at it. Right. And so that's what I'm still trying to do.
Have you ever gone to places like Kerrville or Swarfa or things like that all songwriters
I was
to?
just at Swarfa, and I played 3 showcases.
Oh, great.
And they were all after 1 a.m. in the morning.
I have heard. I've never been, but I have heard about them.
Yeah. But I saw some famous people playing showcases after 1 a.m. I wasn't the only one. Right. I thought, okay, I'm just low on the pecking order. No. But no, I'm not. I wasn't. And I got a lot out of that. And I played Kerrville, and Mike was there, and Keith was there. I played Kerrville. It was either 1980 or 81. It all runs together like a fog for me. But and other songwriters have heard this. I played the main stage in Kerrville as a sideman. I was D. Moeller's guitar player. And they say, wow, main stage, Kerrville. Wow, that's a big deal, Sean. Do you know you're entitled to a lifetime free pass to all Kerrville forever? And I'm like, no, I didn't know that. And I also didn't know it was a big deal to play the main stage. I knew it was a big deal when I was on that stage and Kenneth Threadgill came up to play with us.
Yeah.
He was a legend. He was a legend then, and he's even more of a legend now. And Steve Fromholtz and some other great Texas songwriters. B.W. Stevenson. There was a Dameron or a Cameron. Anyway.
Gary Nunn was up there.
Gary P. Nunn. Yeah. So I didn't know how cool that was back then. I just wanted to know when's the next meal and where's the beer and who has some weed. So I had strange priorities. And later on I learned how fortunate I was.
Oh, yeah. You made it through it, and
I lived to tell the
that's
tale.
right. Absolutely.
So, yeah, Kerrville, yes. And Swerfa, yes.
Right.
Swerfa just recently.
If you could play anywhere in the United States or even the world, where would you want that place to be?
Gosh, right now, right here.
Aw.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I love small rooms and I love small towns, but this is special. You and Randy have built something really special here for songwriters because you show so much love and people listen and they want to hear the song.
Absolutely.
And it's just a special feeling for a songwriter.
Yeah. Randy and I have played our share of bars and places like that, and we too just love the house concert series and the listening rooms and things like that because, you know, people who are in bars or restaurants and things like that, you're right. A lot of times we're just background noise because they're not paying attention. But when you get into the house concerts and the listening rooms, that's what people are there for. They're there to hang on your every word.
Yeah. Saturday I played the Redbird Listening Room in New Braunfels. And I had this same kind of feeling.
Right.
It's not as cool as this room, but it's cool. And they built it to support songwriters, and that's just such a good feeling.
Yeah. We have a lot of young songwriters or people that have just started, and Randy will always tell them, come to the shows, because when you're sitting here watching an artist, you just can learn so much. And there are established singer-songwriters that still come because they learn something new every single time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lifetime learning process.
Right.
And we're all thieves. We steal from everybody.
Yeah. Not everybody. It's exactly right. Not everybody will admit that. But there's no new ideas.
No.
So when I called or emailed John Dufresne, you've got this line, I want this line in my song, I could have just taken it because people do it all the time.
Right.
But my rule is, if you see something and you're going to take that line, either tell them and offer them a co-write, or you change, and this is what mostly happens, use it as the basis for your new original and just put a twist on it. Like if it's about a guy, make it about a girl. And put some kind of twist on it, change a few words, then you can call it your own. It's your original line. But there's nothing new anymore, and so it's all recycled from the old stuff. And, it was the old bluesmen who influenced the British invasion artists. And it was the British invasion artists who influenced guys like me. And and I'll influence somebody else.
Sure.
Maybe, if I'm lucky.
Absolutely. What would you say if somebody was kind of mulling it around, do I or don't I? What would you tell a young songwriter today if they came to you for advice? What would you tell them?
See, this is dangerous territory because I might try to sound like I know what I'm talking about. And I don't. There's no wrong way to write a song. There's no right way. There's just all different kinds of ways. And whatever gets it done. John Dufresne, he teaches writing, and he said, the first draft, and he's talking about story writing, the first draft is not to get it right. The first draft is to get it done. Then you go back and rewrite and fix things and figure it out. my opinion and my idea of songs, and really it goes for any art, I guess, is that it's out there hanging in the universe. It's floating around, and if it pops into my head by luck, I've got a responsibility then to write it.
Sure.
The song popped in here because it wants to be written. This seed of an idea, it wants to be written. It's like a baby that wants to be born. And if you don't give it birth, it's just a ghost.
Right.
And so I get these ideas and I jot them down and I say, that's either going to be part of a song or it's going to be its own song, one or the other, but it's on my to-do list. And then I have to sit my ass down in the chair and go to work on it.
Mm-hmm. So as far as your songwriting goes, you're driven more lyrically than you are musically. You just put the music with it later, or do you get ideas from both places?
I think I get song ideas on the lyrical side first.
Right.
But sometimes I hear something and I say, oh, I like that groove, or I like that chord change right there that he just did.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go figure it out real quick and make a recording on my phone.
Yeah.
So I save musical ideas and lyrical or story ideas, and I'll put them together because they need to match.
Yeah.
You know, The Last Water Tower, kind of a classic folktale kind of story, it deserves to have some simple chords and like a country feel to it.
Yeah,
Because
I see you much more folk, true folk.
Yeah.
Because you're a storyteller.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, most of the country is just a bunch of lies.
Well, today's country, yeah.
You're much more of a storyteller and relates what people can understand.
Thank you, Randy.
Thank you for interjecting that.
No, thank you. That sounds like a compliment to me.
It is.
So I would tell young writers just figure out your way of doing it and keep working.
Believe in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and learn how to accept rejection, and then and keep going.
Right. You have a note on here. Tell me about Milton Patton.
I was in my public relations career, and I played guitar and wrote songs, but I was making money doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
I was working for the Quapaw Nation, and I had an office in a big, nice casino. So I was sort of in the casino business, but I did all kinds of things for Quapaw Nation in northeast Oklahoma. And somebody yelled down a hallway and said, and I hired the music as a kind of side job. There's a story behind why I was a public relations man and a music booker. But anyway, that's what I did, and it worked out well for me. I enjoyed doing it. They said, there's a singer-songwriter who wants a gig, Sean. And I said, oh, tell him to send me an email. And she yelled, he's from Arkansas. And I said, oh, put him through. And Milton had just come off of appearance on America's Got Talent, and his audition video was a viral sensation. And it blew my mind. He was this young, handsome black man with a beautiful voice, perfect for country. And when he opened his mouth to sing, you heard a voice that did not match the person you saw, and it was like, wow. I recommend you look up Milton Patton, America's Got Talent. It had, in a short amount of time, it had 10 million views.
Wow.
Because when they told him he was in, he started crying. It was very touching. And Milton was just born with this great voice. And long story short, he came and did a show. We talked. I told him I wrote songs. He wanted to hear them. He said, I need songs for my album. So I said, I would love for you to hear mine. They're not all country. But he listened to them. He liked them. Long story short, he said, will you manage me? And I was like, wow. I don't have any business managing. I never have. But I've booked a lot of bands, and I've written a lot of songs, and I've been around. And I said, we can figure it out together, because it's the Wild West right now. The internet changed everything.
It did.
And he said, yeah, let's do it. So we worked together for 4 years. We made an album. and it charted on the Billboard charts. Now that's big because we didn't have any budget. We didn't have a professional team. It was just two guys from Arkansas doing their best. And so when you're down on the bottom of the music business like I am, you use anything you've got to promote yourself and make yourself big. It's stretching the truth without lying. So I will say I am a Billboard charted songwriter because I am. I have 4.5 songs on the Billboard charts from July 2015. Number 50 on the Billboard Country Album chart. Number 6 on the, what's it called? The Heat Seeker Indie Southern Regional charts. Number 6 on a Billboard chart. That album. And I wrote 4.5 songs because there were 6 songs on that EP. I wrote 3 completely by myself, and I co-wrote, how did it add up? I co-wrote 3, so that's 4.5. Because when you co-write, you get half the royalties. Mm-hmm. You get into the business of this, and I don't like the music business. The music business is pretty rotten because artists get paid very little, and executives on Music Row in Nashville make bukus of money.
It's been that way forever.
Spotify makes a lot of money, and they get the artist to do their own promotion, and so the artist does all the work, and Spotify makes all the money. You know what I get for the price of I can sell you a CD, and nobody really needs CDs anymore except to support an artist. To match the money I would get for selling a CD, I have to have about 30,000 streams on Spotify.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm nowhere near that. I don't have much. I don't get many listeners on Spotify.
CDs,
that's right.
Yeah, so buy a CD.
In a
support
living room near you.
Support a not starving artist. I'm not starving. I've got it good.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, we really have enjoyed you and enjoyed your songs and getting to know a little bit more about you. And I look forward to watching your journey continue.
Thank you.
I'm sure everybody else does as well.
Helen?
Yes.
Would anybody like to ask you any questions in here? There's a lot of his family and friends.
That's true. I'm sorry, my bad. I'm going to open it up for anybody who has a question. They might want to come over here to me since the mic is right here. Anybody?
Or just speak.
I don't have a question, but I have a suggestion. Instead of whacking them, I suggest getting a nickel jar every time someone mistakes your glasses for a
I love it. I could get rich like that.
That's right. More than Spotify is going to pay them.
That's right. That's right.
Anybody?
It's a nickel well earned. Good suggestion.
Yeah.
So there are some people here whose aunt, Debbie, was my first wife. And so I'll answer a question they might have. Yeah, Debbie and I see each other often. We live a couple of miles apart in Fayetteville. We're good friends, and we will always love each other. It was just time to not be married anymore. And I'll be so honest with you, it might hurt. My drinking and drugging when I was young destroyed that marriage long before it broke up. And that's a sad story because she's a great woman. And I just wasn't a very good husband. So, but I'm a good guy now. I've been sober 30 years.
Yay.
That's a long time to go without a drink.
Yes.
I tell people I drank up my whole life's share as fast as I could.
Yeah, I remember back in the day that you were saying, man, I need to suffer to be a blues musician.
Do you remember?
I don't saying no, you don't, But
so I did my suffering.
You just had to get a little life under you, and we
this
learned
is a lot
from
better
it.
than blues. I mean, blues is good, but
Yeah.
This is life.
That's right.
Yeah, I live a really good life. I'm extremely fortunate.
And you got all of them up there, Rachel and her little kiddos.
Yep.
Freaking adorable.
They're great.
And all their dogs and cats.
They live 1.2 miles away from me. And my mother lives 1.7 miles away from me. I know these things because I walk all the time. I walk everywhere. And I've got an app on my phone that counts my steps and how far I've gone. So I know how far it is to Rachel's house and to Mom's house. Mom is still alive. Dad passed. Dad was he was famous mostly for a movie called Rollerball. And a lot of people know Rollerball. There were 2 versions of the movie made. It started out as a short story, and he wrote it as a screenplay. And we were living in London, where my main thing to do was go out and go busking on the streets. Mm-hmm. And I played Neil Young and Cat Stevens and the Beatles and Dylan and all that old stuff. Good old stuff.
Yeah.
And Dad was busy writing, and he was on some kind of a paid leave as a writer, and got a call and said, somebody wants to make Rollerball. It's Norman Jewison. Well, he was a famous director and producer. And it changed our lives. Everybody thought we got rich, thought Dad was rich. He was not rich. He made about $100,000, and he bought a house, or he paid off the house. So it was good. Right. And then writers all over the country knew him, and I guess it opened up some doors. Oh, and for me, it was cool. Yeah, Dad wrote really well.
Yeah,
it's a cool thing. Yeah.
Nice
big
claim
time.
to fame.
We're big time. Yeah.
Well, Arkansas sure is lucky to have you. That's for sure.
Oh, thanks. I love Arkansas.
And so is Waxahachie. Amen.
Why is it pronounced Waxahachie when it's spelled Waxahachie? I know that's the dumbest question.
We've got all night.
Anyway, I like it. Traveling, I love coming back and playing in Texas. And I eat nothing but barbecue and Tex-Mex. And I'm supposed to watch my weight as a performing musician. I'm supposed to, make sure my jeans will fit. But it's hard. It is hard to come down here and not overeat on that good
Tex-Mex,
stuff.
chicken fried steak, barbecue, you name it.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah.
Just a little extra walking when you get home.
Yeah, I do a lot of walking.
Sean, thank you so much
thank
for being
you all.
here. Everybody in here, thank you for coming.
You all for coming here. Thank you. It means everything to me.
Where you headed next?
I play a show in, what's your hometown? Conroe.
Conroe, Texas.
Tomorrow. And a tiny little town called Burton. Mm-hmm. It's like halfway between Houston and Austin. And then I'm going home. I miss Claris, and I've been gone 2 weeks, and I'm ready to get home. But I got 2 more shows after tonight. This is the highlight of the trip. I'm just so grateful.
Wow. It's been great having you.
Thank you.